This episode is sponsored by Coupa. With over $2 trillion of cumulative spend under management, Coupa offers its global customers, from Fortune 1000 companies to the world's fastest growing organizations, the visibility and control they need to manage costs, mitigate risks, and scale for growth, all in one comprehensive and open cloud-based platform. With the extensive data flowing through its business spend management platform, Coupa's Community Intelligence offers real-time benchmarks and best practice prescriptions. These insights are derived from the measurable outcomes of companies around the world. Coupa's BSM platform empowers finance and procurement leaders to spend smarter and tap into the collective wisdom of the Coupa community. For more information, visit www.coupa.com.
Welcome to the Procurement Foundry show, TenureTalks. We ask the same 5 questions each week, providing you with chewable bites of expertise. I am your host, Sarah Scudder, a print procurement guru. I run Real Sourcing Network, a technology company that provides an innovative and painless way for organizations to buy high-quality print for less. I am honored to have David Loseby as our guest today. David, it's a pleasure having you here with us. I like to start off each interview making it a little personal and fun. So if you could share a couple random non-business related facts about yourself.
Wow. I suppose probably a couple of the facts would be I'm actually a qualified scuba diver instructor and a rescue diver, which is probably not known by too many people in the procurement world. In my much fitter days, I did stages of the Tour de France, so I used to be a lot healthier and fitter than I am today.
Hashtag COVID life. I think all of our exercise schedules have been interrupted.
Correct.
So, David, tell me a little bit about yourself and your current role.
Yes, so I arguably one of the most complex career paths that you could ever imagine. And certainly, had I gone to a careers fair at the tender age of either 16 or 18, it certainly wouldn't have been a career path that they would have mapped out for me. So I could probably split my time into spending probably 1/3 of my career in property development and construction as a chartered surveyor and a program director. Probably another 1/3 of my career spent as a CPO, and probably another 1/3 of my career as a behavioral scientist, because I spent probably the last 15 years working in academic research in the area of behavioral science and applied cognitive psychology. So quite a quirky career. I spent many times working in lots and lots of different organizations, some large, some small, also private and public sector organizations. And I've also spent quite a number of years living and working overseas, some in nice places and some in not so nice places around the world. And as a consequence, despite giving up French at secondary school, now have the dubious pleasure of speaking French, Portuguese, and Italian. So quite an oddball in terms of procurement professionals, I'm sure.
Yeah, I always wish that I had grown up in a bilingual household. My youngest sister's husband actually speaks 5 languages fluently, and I always think it's incredible to hear him come in and out in one sentence in so many different languages. So, David, who is one person, mentor, coach, or boss that has helped you most in your career, and how did they help?
I think for me, and it's interesting because I actually had a discussion with this lady not so many weeks and months ago, a lady called Alison Hutchinson, who at the time was one of the Barclays business banking CEOs, and actually taught me something that was quite an important sort of, I'll call it, lesson around how to treat people, how to focus sometimes on the small things that made a really big difference to people in their career and in their lives, and recognizing that sometimes the small details and the little things actually make a massive difference and drive significantly lots and lots of discretionary effort by people in organizations, motivate them to do things that sometimes move them out their comfort zone, just spur them on to do the next thing, to achieve greater. And I think for me, that lesson around understanding, I'll call it the people motivations, rather than just focusing on systems and processes and data and things like that, was such an important lesson. And oddly enough, she went on to found a charity called Pennies, which probably doesn't translate across the water, but in many countries, the small change that is harvested off credit card bills when rounded up to a whole number was part and parcel of this charity that went to save lots and lots of people's lives and improve lots of people's lives, and consequently earned her a knighthood in one of the Queen's New Year's Honours List. So a very inspirational lady indeed, and a great privilege to work with her.
And I love the name of her nonprofit.
Thank you.
What is the most innovative thing that you've seen in your space in the past 12 months?
The most innovative thing for me actually has come out of, we've been working on launching and putting in place a new digital platform for all of our direct procurement. And one of the things that I think has been particularly inspirational is the way in which we've used a new application that delivers at point learning and development for the tool. So as you can imagine, particularly in the wonderful pandemic and COVID world that we live, the traditional routes of delivering knowledge transfer, training, that sort of thing, clearly needed a bit of a boost and a bit of a change of direction. And therefore, applying this point of use training delivery, which is both visual, audio, but also is on demand, as opposed to something that is there and invasive. So it can be simply called up and utilized at the point of taking a piece of process or functionality within a system. So for me, I think that's been a huge, I'll call it uptick in terms of the adoption of the digital platform. So for us, and as I say to many people, it's no point having a really nice, shiny, glossy new digital platform if nobody's adopted it or are using it. The real benefits come in the fact that people want to use it, know how to use it, and use its fullest capacity and capability. So that's something that for me has been particularly significant on the journey that we've had to go on in a world where we've been living through lockdown.
I think change management is something that any of us in procurement or in almost any leadership position struggle with, is how to get people to change and do something different. And you mentioned the on-demand content and training piece. One of the interesting themes that I've started seeing is the addition of gaming into virtual trainings, because people are used to being on their phones and playing video games. And so I think that's a trend that we're going to continue to see more of as well.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think, I mean, obviously, personally speaking, because my PhD study is in the area of behavioral science and applied cognitive psychology, I've used a lot of that to influence the way in which we've structured the adoption methodology. And so I'm particularly proud that we've managed to agree and get sign off to a series of personal qualifications for people that use the new digital platform that are transferable from their current day role, to roles outside of Rolls-Royce. So for me, that is something that I'm particularly proud of too.
Mhm. David, what is one thing that we don't know about you professionally?
Wow. Goodness. What I say really, what you don't know about me professionally. I would say that for me, um, uh, I the one thing that I suppose I recognize professionally is that I have probably invested the best part of 20 years plus in the procurement profession, in giving back, what I call giving back. And it's something that I know not just me, but many other people just quietly get on with, and provide that kind of, I'll call it give back to the profession. And it's something that I've done for all of my working career in procurement. And so for me, I think that's hugely important, and hugely important in terms of developing yourself over a continuous period. One of the things that I see many people do is simply get their qualifications and then say, that's it, I'm done, I'm finished, no more. And I think that is probably for me one of the biggest mistakes I think that people can make. And I think it's almost an injustice to the study and the development that they've put into themselves to not then continue that on. So I think for me, in terms of professionally, yeah, I mean, I've delivered procurement training and development in all sorts of different countries and circumstances, from China to Russia to Singapore to France, and apart from Russian and apart from Mandarin, I've delivered the training in different languages. So having had my training delivered in Russian and recognizing that there weren't words that translated from English into Russian, some real interesting moments in terms of words that were missing that you wouldn't ordinarily expect were there. So yeah, some interesting insights.
Very interesting. David, my final question for you is, what is one piece of advice that you can give someone clawing up the ranks?
I would simply put it as, don't be afraid to ask the questions. Don't pretend you know the answers to all the things that are thrown at you. And also sometimes be prepared to challenge. So I suppose it's two pieces of advice. One is ask questions, and don't think that you don't have a right to ask questions and to challenge certain things, because probably one of the things that I've certainly valued throughout my career is, on several of occasions, I've used what's called a reverse mentor. So somebody significantly younger and less grey hairs than me to help me with an understanding of how, particularly many years ago, how social media and tech works. What are some of the different ways and tools that can be used to get better penetration through the social media networks. So I think the advice I would give is that there's always a I'll call it a reciprocal deal to be had between people in the ascendancy of their career and other people, in a sense, in the maturity of their career. And I think there's always that wonderful symbiotic relationship where each can actually value and deliver, I'll call it, expertise and knowledge from each other. So I would see it, or I would always see it as probably a two-way exchange rather than a one-way exchange.
Thank you for that, David. And I love the phrase reverse mentor. Thank you for being on our show. And I've enjoyed looking at your cool background today as well.
Yeah, that's one of the engines that we manufacture and produce that hang off wings of aircraft.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.